You are listening to TechVibe Radio. It's coming at you from the Huntington Bank studios. TechVibe Radio is your front row seat to Pittsburgh's fast-moving technology ecosystem. TechVibe is brought to you by the generous support of Blink at 321blink.com, Chorus Call at choruscall.com, C-Leveled at c-leveled.com, Compunetics at compunetics.com, Huntington Bank at huntington.com, My Benefit Advisor at ptc.mybenefitadvisor.com, and PNC Bank at pnc.com. Here are your hosts, the Pittsburgh Technology Council's Audrey Russo and Jonathan Kirsting. You're listening to TechVibe Radio. This is Jonathan Kirsting from the Pittsburgh Technology Council, and I couldn't be more excited, more stoked to bring you a radio broadcast because it is April, and every show in April on TechVibe Radio is talking about Pittsburgh robotics companies. When it comes to robotics, I think that is Pittsburgh's first name in technology. So we wanted to put a special focus on it. And we couldn't do that focus without the help from our friends at Huntington Bank. I'm really pumped because actually recording this show remotely at the Huntington Bank in the Strip District. Why the Strip District, you may ask? Well, simply because it's the gateway to robotics row here. Lots of fun stuff going on here. Love being on the scene and having our companies come in here to the bank and talk to us about what they're doing right here in Pittsburgh. And we're kicking it off today with Mark DeSantis from BloomField Robotics. I've known Mark for years and years and years. And I tell you what, I've got so much respect for Mark and what he's done over the years. He's been part of so many tech companies here in Pittsburgh. And when I saw he was taking over the reins over at BloomField Robotics, I was pretty excited. I'm like, this company's going to have a chance to succeed now. Didn't want to overstate that or anything like that, Mark. But Mark, thanks for hanging out with me today. I really do appreciate it. It's good to see you, in person for the first time in a very long time. So it's always great to see people in 3D. I mean, 2D is great and all, but 3D is always much better.
Like live.
So first off, I mean, give our listeners just a quick pitch about BloomField Robotics. I mean, what you do is so cool to me because it's about making sure people get fed at the end of the day.
Big issue. Thanks again. Privilege being here and great seeing you, and always honored to be in TechVibe. So we look at plants and we determine the health and performance of those plants one plant at a time. If you're growing tomatoes in your backyard, anybody who's ever grown any plants of any sort can't help themselves. They have to look at the plant, watch the progression. If they see the leaves yellowing or they see something wrong with the plant, they immediately address that issue right then and there.
Right.
Well, that inspection process that you undergo when you're growing your tomatoes in your backyard happens on a massive scale when you're growing grapes in a vineyard, apples in an orchard, cannabis in an indoor grow.
Yeah.
Human visual inspection is the means by which growers maintain the performance of their plant. It protects the plant from disease infestation. If they see a problem, they can remedy it right away so it doesn't spread. But then they can also add more water, fertilizer, all those things that enhance the performance of the plant during the year. But all those things come down to a simple act, which is somebody's got to go look at the plants.
That's labor intensive, especially when you have hundreds and hundreds of acres of crops,
or thousands, tens of thousands, and in some cases hundreds of thousands. So there are millions of planted acres now. Our focus, what we do, is we help people who are specialty crop growers. So you think wheat, rice, corn, that's not our thing. Think fruits, vegetables, flowers, cannabis, and other things. So
gotcha.
Tree fruit, bushes, all those things, those are more expensive per acre than corn, wheat, rice. They also, therefore, require more intensive inspection and closer inspection because the risk of failure of an acre of apples or cannabis or flowers is quite high, particularly if maybe you're a French vintner in Bordeaux.
An acre of grapes has to be like a lot of money.
Tens of thousands of dollars,
Absolutely.
Tens and tens of thousands. You can go all the way up to millions of dollars of acres. So that's what we do. So we use cameras. We use artificial intelligence that was developed over a decade at Carnegie Mellon University.
I love hearing that. Exactly right. All tech stories lead to CMU at some point.
Absolutely. Little known fact about robotic tech at CMU. Actually, they've been in ag tech for decades. So it's no surprise, for example, that a lot of the big ag tech companies are already here in Pittsburgh. We're fortunate among them to have Kubota tractor which is one of the largest tractor manufacturers in the world, as an investor and a partner.
That's amazing.
And, that was really an extraordinary event, happened at the end of last year, and that relationship is growing and growing rapidly. So ag tech's a big thing. Why is ag so important? I've been in a lot of different industries, and I can say without equivocation, this is the most exciting thing I've ever seen in my life, principally because there's a recognition by everybody in the world, acknowledgement, that we're going to figure out a way to grow more food, and a lot more food, and in a hurry.
Exactly. And to do it in a way that's not as intense on the environment as well, too, because growing food cuts down a lot of land, and we need that to keep the
fresh water.
Yeah.
It's in some sense, it's not currently a sustainable industry, but the bigger problem is just the scale of the problem. So you've got a 40% increase in world population over the next 30 years.
And there's no more land.
No more land. No more arable land. There aren't any more Iowas or Ukraines, sort of breadbasket, rich, dark soil where you just drop something and it starts growing.
Yeah.
Now, some people are saying, well, there's going to be some opportunities in sub-Saharan Africa and parts of Brazil. But the reality is we're going to not have any more arable land in 30 years than we have now. So we're going to have to get more.
You got a higher yield coming off the field.
In fact, just I don't want to scare your listeners, but here it is. Yeah. We have to grow more food in the next 30 years than we've grown since the invention of agriculture in the last 10,000.
Oh my goodness, that's the number.
That's the number. So it's massive, massive increase in production. Now, people perhaps have heard of vertical farms, where
I was going to bring that up because we think we have some of that here in Pittsburgh with like fifth season and so forth, and that's part of the solution as well too, to grow up as opposed to out.
Unfortunately, that is not going to satisfy the sheer enormity of this demand.
Right, exactly.
Vertical farms are great. They use less water, no soil, controlled environment, but it uses a lot of electricity. So a lot of electricity.
So you use a lot of resources there as well too.
Now, vertical farms serve a mission, and they're going to grow, and they're a permanent fact of farming, but they're not going to satisfy this massive increase that we all are going to need. So it's our purpose in life is to get more per plant. So if you think about farming is it's sort of a black box. There are a lot of companies that build sensors, drones, soil sensors, water sensors, micro weather platforms.
Right.
And they tell the grower all of the inputs that are going into, say, an acre. But the problem is the best knowledge they have of that acre is more of a general knowledge. They don't know specifically.
They don't know it plant by plant, right? Exactly.
And for specialty crops, if you had that knowledge, you could then, as a friend of mine says, turn an acre into a factory without a roof.
That's really cool.
So you could bring engineering principles to farming where previously you can only sort of guesstimate what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Now I know, because I know we have vineyard customers in France, in Bordeaux, in Burgundy, in northern Italy, in Spain, California, Washington, Oregon, New York State, and blueberries in Peru. And we can name plants now. We can say that tree.
I love it. That is so cool.
We're naming that's Floyd. That vine. We're going to follow that vine for the next 20 years, because we put our cameras on vehicles, really anything that moves. And then the tractor just goes up and down the road, snaps away.
Snaps all the pictures, and you process those pictures, and you start using some of your, which I think is really cool. You're not just a robotics company, you're an AI company, because you're actually now using machine learning to learn the conditions of these plants.
Yeah, and this stuff really works. Like that AI actually really works.
Believe it or not.
Yeah.
It's living up to its hype.
Yeah, I mean, it's the exciting thing is that Kubota, why would Kubota invest in us? So
because they want to put your cameras in the back of their tractors, man.
They want to put the cameras in the tractor.
Or in the tractor. You integrate them into the tractor, so it's just
it's not passively,
it's not an appendage,
soaking up data.
Soaking it up in data.
So there's a vision that the ag tech folks have, particularly the people who with the wheels, as I call it, tractor companies, principally ATV companies. The vision they have is that eventually a farmer won't be the kind of farmer that we think of now. The farmer will be more like a project manager, where they are leasing the land. They have certain suppliers that bring in the water, the fertilizer.
Okay.
And then among the suppliers of services would be the equipment players.
Exactly.
And they would bring their vehicles and their data, and thus the farmer probably would never leave their farm. Never leave their house.
Never leave their house. It's all done.
And it's all done by machines, and it's not done to just simply save labor. it's done because the machines will be a lot more efficient.
Right.
A lot more efficient than a person could ever have been. So that future, Jonathan, is not 10 years from now.
It's happening right now.
It's happening right now.
So cool. We're going to leave on that note. We're taking a quick break. We're coming back with more from BloomField Robotics and Mark DeSantis. And it is a complete month here in April of robotics companies coming at you from Huntington Bank here in the Strip District. Oh, I'm too pumped up today, Mark. I have so much fun doing this and hanging out with folks like you, learning about this, because I'm like, my goodness, man, here in Pittsburgh, we're creating solutions that are literally impacting the world, man. Simple as that. So anyone you're out there, you're listening, don't go anywhere. Come right back, because we have more Mark DeSantis and BloomField Robotics. This is such an amazing story. Hang tight, everybody. If you want to learn more about the Pittsburgh Technology Council, go to pghtech.org. The labor market is increasingly competitive. The best and brightest employees no longer just want top-notch compensation and benefits. Your teams need a continuous people improvement platform that ensures your talent chooses to stay and grow your company. Visit www.work.software to learn more.
For more than a decade, Blink has been producing unique creative services and solutions that tell a story, move hearts, and drive decision-making that advances business objectives. Your business objectives. We adopt a company-wide policy of candor, transparency, and a good old-fashioned work ethic in the pursuit of building long-lasting relationships with our clients and our partners. From video and design to strategy and digital marketing, Blink is here to creatively advance your business. Visit us at 321blink.com.
All of the cool kids are listening to TechVibe Radio, and so are you. TechVibe Radio is coming at you from the Huntington Bank studios and is made possible by the generous support of our sponsors, Blink, Chorus Call, Sea Level, Compunetics, Huntington Bank, My Benefit Advisor, and PNC Bank. Here are your hosts, the Pittsburgh Technology Council's Audrey Russo and Jonathan Kirsting. Welcome back. So glad you're spending your Sunday morning. You got up super early to listen to this awesome show. And yes, I'm saying it's awesome because how often do you get a whole show dedicated to some of the most kick-butt robotic stuff happening here in Pittsburgh? I'm your host, Jonathan Kirsting from the Pittsburgh Tech Council. My usual co-host, Audrey Russo, my boss and the CEO of the Tech Council. She cannot hang out with us today, so I get to have all the fun when I'm hanging out with Mark. So Mark, welcome back to my listeners. Mark DeSantis, BloomField Robotics, ag tech company, robotics company, machine learning company, AI company.
Yeah.
Dude.
It's the gamut.
So when you took this job, and I'm calling it this job, I'm doing gigantic quotation marks because this has become your life.
Yeah, it's a life choice. I would say it's a life choice.
It's a life choice. Yeah. So how many agriculture books have you read?
It's been a journey of learning. One great resource I want to shout out to the FIPS.
Okay.
Shout out to the FIPS. So anybody that's interested in ag, horticulture, botany, agronomy, there's some wonderful courses at the FIPS I took. Yes, I have read a lot of textbooks about farming, taken a lot of courses, been educated by our customers in ways. So 2.5 years of this, I've learned a bit. And I guess I could say my biggest learning is there's a bunch of stuff I don't know.
Yeah,
so,
of course.
Yeah, so that's helped me think about how we go forward and make a difference for our customers.
Definitely.
And I think the thing that I came away with is I think this is a challenge a lot of AI companies, a lot of tech companies have, is they get confused and think they're a tech company when in fact the tech is a means to an end and there's something else.
Interesting.
We are a plant sciences company. We use AI. We use this technology. Yeah. It is a tool, just like any other piece of machinery you would have in a factory.
Just like a dishwashing machine. Think about that. That's almost like that's like a robot for doing your dishes, except it's not treated as such. But the one thing you do know, and you know well, is how to build a company, how to scale a company, how to fund a company, how to connect the customers, because you've done that with so many companies before. Yep. And that's why I was so excited when I saw that you took the CEO role there, because I'm like, there's that big gap between having cool technology but actually getting it into the marketplace and using it, right? I mean, that is the absolute heart. In my 25 years of covering tech, it is a rare person that can do that, and you're one of those people.
You know, it's funny. I don't. I guess what I would say I do is I can get it from a dead start to momentum, and then and that to me is the fun part, because that's where you as a founder have your largest impact. I come to a realization that I say this to any founder, I don't care how long you're with your company, and how that 80% of all that you bring to that company, of the highest value you bring, probably happens the first 18 months.
Absolutely.
And everything you do after that, no matter how spectacular your career, probably won't match what you accomplished in the first 18 months, because you're really setting the trajectory of this thing.
You're giving it that like initial thrust.
Exactly.
Right. And that's going
to, and if you can get it at the right arc, you can break, break gravity and get into orbit. And that's really what I focus on is, and I say this, that I'm a big believer in momentum. Momentum is hard to recapture if you lose it.
Impossible, honestly. I feel like you got to take that momentum and ride it all the way, or it's just not going to make it past the goal line.
It's true in sports. It's true in we're seeing in war overseas. And
I think it's just basic physics at this point.
Exactly. It really is.
When it comes down to it. It applies across many different levels as far as that is.
And once you lose that, so for us, and it's really maintaining the momentum, and as a consequence, you can't, it's inexact, it's imprecise, it's fraught with peril and, frankly, mistakes. As you grow, I've made many. I would need 5 shows to articulate all of the dumb decisions I've made and mistakes I've made over the years.
But you've learned from them all.
And I'm hopefully.
Most of them. Hopefully. I hear you, man.
But I learned a lot about myself, and I learned a lot about my own limitations, which are considerable. So I think that's been the biggest part of my experience as an entrepreneur, is self-knowledge, just learning.
What do you think?
It can come at any age.
I'm just curious when it comes to Pittsburgh as a place to do business. I know we all have our pluses and our minuses. What would you say is our biggest strength and our biggest weakness?
Biggest strength is we are sitting on, we are approximate to the leading AI university.
Absolutely.
It's like if I took all technology in the world, and I sort of stacked it as almost like a pyramid of value. At the top or near the top is AI. And then I asked myself, what facility, what institution in the world represents the pinnacle of AI? And I'd say
Carnegie Mellon University. Yeah, exactly. I would agree with you on that.
Absolutely. And now I think, again, thanks to the work of organizations like the Tech Council and other people in your work over decades, and I mean this when I say this to you, over decades of saying the drumbeat of tech is our path forward, tech is our path forward. Well, that's happening now.
Exactly.
Exactly. 20 plus years of banging away saying there's something here, and now there's something here. And I think that's another strength is Pittsburgh. I don't think, Jonathan, we could have said that 15 years ago or 20
I would agree
with
you. Yeah.
It would have been a hope and a dream.
Yeah, I would agree.
Even 10 years ago, it was still sort of a glimmer, but
something has taken off in the past 5-7 years where it really got things kind of firing up, which I think is good.
And it's accelerating. Downside, I wouldn't call it a downside. I hate to call it a weakness, but it's a limitation, which is, Pittsburgh's an old city. Yeah. I mean, Pittsburgh was a city when San Francisco was a fort of,
See, I love
1,000 people.
That's why I miss you, Mark, because you're the only one that would bring up something like that. Your knowledge of history is very deep, and it's true.
I mean, Pittsburgh was one of America's largest cities. Pre-Civil War era city here.
Yep, absolutely.
We have this rich culture here, but it's a bit of an old world culture.
It kind of holds you back a little bit because it has its traditions and its conservativeness to it.
And I also think another thing, and I've said this. When you're in a brand new place that's sort of teeming with newness and growth, your focus is on opportunity and possibility. And if you trip and fall, hey, so what? That's why I'm here. I'm here for opportunity.
Right.
Pittsburgh, for a long time, has, had its ups and downs.
Yeah.
People don't realize this. Young people, go back to the days of Carnegie, 1880s, 1890s. It had several occasions when thousands of people would get laid off. A month later, they're back on shift again.
Yep.
And this happened again and again for decades of up and down and insecurity. And for a long time, like my grandparents, city of immigrants.
Yeah, it creates a culture where,
hang on to what you got.
It's risk averse.
I appreciate there's an opportunity, Mark, but I'm a little bit more concerned about keeping what I got.
Exactly.
And risk losing that than, bird in the hand.
Absolutely.
You go to San Francisco, they don't give a damn what bird you have in your hand.
Exactly.
They want to go for those birds in the bushes. Like,
Exactly.
They're all about that. So that culture, I don't want to say, Jonathan, holds us back, but it defines us.
Yeah.
So if you're an entrepreneur here, you have to adapt your thinking. Now, the good news is, for those who are listening, entrepreneurs, money is flowing into the city.
It's happening now. People can't say they're not getting money because there's money funds
It
funds good projects. And if you've got a good project, money will find
money
it.
will find you. So just let the world know you exist. Thanks to you and the work you're doing and the Tech Council and other organizations in town are letting the world know
we're here.
there's something here. And there people are listening now.
And that's why we do the show.
Yeah.
So, Mark, I can't thank you enough for hanging
Yeah.
out. Man, I need another hour to talk to you.
Yeah.
There's so much to go over. I just want more history from when was the fort first built in San Francisco? But anyhow, appreciate so much. So stoked that you're at BloomField Robotics. And we're just so proud of the work that you're doing at the Tech Council. We're huge fans.
Say that Audrey for me as well.
I will, absolutely. If people go to bloomfield.ai, you can see how their stuff works. It's really fascinating. You guys are feeding the world. Simple as that.
Thanks again.
Everybody, this has been Jonathan Kirsting from the Pittsburgh Technology Council. Go to pghtech.org. Having way too much fun telling these stories every single Sunday. Have a good one, everybody. TechVibe Radio is coming at you from the Huntington Bank Studios and is made possible by the generous support of our sponsors, Blink, Chorus Call, C-Leveled, Compunetics, Huntington Bank, My Benefit Advisor, and PNC Bank.